Hey, I'm Jean, an artist and surface pattern designer. Today we're going to make a sketchbook layout with loose gouache florals, and then we're going to turn that painting into a repeating pattern in Illustrator. So if that's something you're interested in watching, hang out with me and let's get busy. He agrees with us. Before we get started today, go ahead and do that thing so that way we can stay connected. Go ahead and grab a sketchbook if you're going to be trying to paint along with me. This is a very, very simple loose floral idea for you. If you are burnt out like I have been for the past 7 months and have made no art, go into Pexels and type in your favorite color, which I just put in purple. I don't know if that's my favorite color, but I like it enough. And see if you can find a loose floral that you like to mimic the shapes. I just found a very, very round one, and so that's basically what I did. Is just did like loose circular shapes. I just mixed random colors. I tend to stay in the same hue and do like a monochromatic color palette if I don't know what to do. If I'm feeling burnt out, if I'm feeling tired and I don't really want to think about it. And that's kind of what this ended up being, is very, very pink and purple colors. And they all kind of go really easily together. So I didn't have to think too much about anything. I'm literally just mixing up white paint with colors and making blobs all over. Then I mixed up a darker color and just made some connecting lines to mimic branches. Now this does not look like the inspiration photo at all. That was just to kind of get me going, and the rest is just from my mind. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on myself. Like I said, I have been in art burnout for almost 7 months, and I've been making art for a really long time, but like the last 4 years, I've been really heavy into trying to like figure out how to turn it into an art business. And it just got to me, and I just had to take a break. And with that, I'm slowly like coming back into just like finding my groove again with art. And so if that's you, I definitely recommend doing this exercise. Once you get your painting or sketch, whatever you decided to make, scanned in or photographed, I don't know the preference there. I have a scanner, so that's just what I use. Open up your Illustrator and place your documents. This is not going to be a step-by-step tutorial. I'm just going to kind of gloss over some of the high points for people that have never been exposed to this, really. Just to kind of see if they have a taste for it, if they're interested in learning more about it. There's not a whole lot of videos out there. There's some, but there's not tons and tons. So I want to start making some. So I'm just placing my scanned images in Illustrator, and my sketchbook is a weird size, so I had to scan it a couple times just to make sure I got all the pieces in there. You can expand your image trace. If you don't have image trace, I think you go to Window, Image Trace. I chose 16 colors because I wanted to try to keep some of the texture. When you vectorize, what I noticed from watercolor and gouache, when you vectorize those mediums, they look cartoony. They don't look like traditional art. It's hard to explain. And so I think you want to try to keep most of the integrity of the painting if you can. I think this is why traditional artists prefer to use Photoshop for building their patterns. If you're a traditional artist and you make patterns, let me know if you use Photoshop and if you prefer it over Illustrator. I was taught on Illustrator, so that's why I use this one. I did take a Kat Coke course from Skillshare, and she shows you how to use Photoshop, but I don't know, it just didn't stick the way that this one did. So this is the one that I use. Once you place your photos, once you image trace, you're going to expand it, and then you're going to ungroup it. And this is where you're going to do a lot of your cleanup. This is my pet peeve with Illustrator. I don't even know if it's Illustrator, but using traditional art, there's so much like cleanup. And the very first surface pattern design collection that I made, it took forever to clean up the initial motifs. Forever. And this last collection that I've been working on, same thing. So I don't know if I'm just like doing something wrong, but it's a very, very lengthy and tedious process of grouping things together, all the little pieces that you want together, and then like building your pattern with your motifs. So I don't know, I haven't found like a really great smooth process from traditional art to finished pattern that I love, that I'm like, oh, this is the way I'm doing it. I'm still figuring that out. For this specific pattern, I didn't try very hard on my sketchbook, very loose. So maybe that's why there's a lot of cleanup here. But once you get all your vectors grouped the way that you want them into motifs, you can color them here, and maybe that's what I should have done, but I didn't. I went ahead and built the pattern first. And if you've never built a pattern in Illustrator, you basically have to build a rectangle, lay out the design that you want, making sure that you copy the motifs from top to bottom and left to right, making sure they're exact. And then you add another rectangle in the back with no stroke and no fill. And then you drop everything into the swatches panel. That's a very, very broad overview of how you do it for somebody who's never used this program before. So I got my first square down, and I'm just slowly building this pattern with the branches first. I'm going to do the branches all the way across, and then I'm going to add the florals on top. So if I was smart, I would have made, you can see now here, look, I'm copying these. You go to transform and move, and you move it over to the other side and you hit copy. It's going to be different for everybody depending on the size of their rectangle. So if you guys want a more detailed tutorial in the future, let me know. But I just wanted to kind of show a fun little pattern design that I made to see if anybody was interested in watching these, because I really like to watch these. I love watching other artists and designers work. And maybe even to expose people that don't know a lot about it, that maybe are in the art world but don't really know a lot about pattern making. So like I said, if I was smart, I would have grouped all the branches together, which I did not, and made a pattern just out of the branches. I could still go back and do it if I wanted to, and I might at some point. But see here, I'm dropping the pattern in to see if the repeat is working now that I've got all of the sides filled before I go any further. So you kind of want to like check as you go, and that's what I'm doing, just to make sure there's no broken spots or those hairline spaces of where the pattern doesn't line up. So, and it looks pretty connected. So I kept moving forward and just layering, kind of trying to mimic the style of the original sketchbook. Just loose, flowy, full, vibrant buds. I will tell you one thing that I do like about Illustrator is that you can resize things and not have to worry about pixels. So some of these little tiny buds in my sketchbook, because I scanned them at 300 DPI and vectorized them, I can make them very, very large and they keep their quality. So I will give Illustrator a plus and vectors a plus for that. So one thing I like to do too is like scale down the pattern so you can see it really small and see if there's any issues, any holes. And so that's basically what I'm doing, is just looking at the pattern, trying to see if there is any holes or any weird spots. I'm trying to get the color evenly dispersed so there's no like big chunks of the same color in the same spot. I may not be a great pattern maker yet, but color has always been a strong suit of mine. So that looks pretty good to me. It's flowy. Now there is one small problem with this. You see all the purple? Those are called rivers, I think, where you can see the trail running down. It doesn't bother me because I know I'm going to change the colors. But some people say to avoid that. So just keep that in mind. Now, the best thing about Illustrator that I have found so far is the Recolor Artwork tool. If you are new to digital artwork, this is a game changer. I'm coming from traditional art, so I make a piece, I move on to the next piece. If I want to try to make the same piece again, it's a nightmare to try to recolor it. Yeah, just not an easy process, and it never looks the same. So unless you make a trace of your original design and then trace that on multiple sheets of paper and then try different painting techniques out, you can get closer that way, but it's never the same. It's not like this. This is incredible. This allows so much flexibility to try out things you never would have imagined. So if nothing else, this is worth learning Illustrator for. I don't know. That's just me. So what I'm doing is using the Recolor Artwork tool to pick out my favorites and just kind of get inspired, because at this point I have been working on this pattern for about like 6 hours. It's taken me a while, maybe 4 hours. It was a good long bit of footage, like five hours, I think. And then I sat on the sofa and tried to fix one of my mistakes, which is I didn't really know it was a mistake until I got in here to recolor things, and there were 31 colors. And so some of the colors were showing up in places that I didn't want them to show up, and it was just very, very challenging to try to get it right. But in the end, I came up with these designs and I love them. I absolutely love this pattern. I just want to say thank you. If you made it to the end, please like or comment so I know that this is content that you're interested in. I love surface pattern design, and I want to make a whole video of how I got into it at some point. So if you would be interested in that, let me know that too. Or possibly about Bonnie Christine's immersion course, which I took in 2024 and thought about doing a review video of that. So if you're interested in that as well, let me know if any of those would be good video ideas. But that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.